Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and this is now the third night in a row I've actually had to do this. But for the last couple of nights, I've made videos where I've explained that I called it again the end of an era videos, and I explained how when one job was coming to an end, and now I feel like, and then I talked about how like it's past, present, and this is future. This is the next day. This is talking about what will happen. And unfortunately, I said in the last one that this would probably be my first steps into being a proper man. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, if today what's happened today is any indication that this is what being in a man's world is really going to be like, fuck me, I think I'm in trouble. Because just today alone, I have felt ignored, insulted, taken the piss out of, ridiculed, insulted, ignored. I went through all of that. I went through all of that, and it was like, I don't really think anybody had anything nice to say to me at all yesterday. I'm being completely honest about that. It's like there was only one other day. There's only two other days I can actually remember in my life where I've never felt quite as defrauded as this. The first was my very first day of primary school back in reception. That just gone 20 years ago, and the only other was what happened 9 years ago. It was like the penultimate day of school before the summer holidays when I was 15. I'd only just come back from a school holiday in the French city of Bordeaux in southern France, and I come back and literally, I do not think anybody was happy to see me. In any of the short classes that I had left, everybody was just like, nothing. There was like no reaction. There was no like, oh, it's good to see you again. There's, for many of my mates or anything like that. Like I said, I do not think anybody was happy to see me. And it's a terrible, terrible thing for a person to go through. And it's a little bit worse than I'm trying to make it out, because I've kind of like kept a straight face about all of this, but I do have to emphasize something very, very important. You know what? For a man like me, a man who has Asperger's, you might imagine that in some way in my mind that there's something about all of this that just does not seem right. Like there's some conspiracy that people are just doing this on purpose. And it's not, and yes, again, I talk to people at work and that, and you know what? There have been many times before where I've talked to enough people at work when they weren't busy. I'm not just walking up to them and just interrupting their work and stuff like that. But in this instance, I'm literally like casually just trying to I don't really speak to many people at work anymore anyway, but I still do, just because because the pattern of events goes something like this. Usually there's like some discussion some people are having, and it's maybe something I'm not entirely getting behind, or they assume immediately I'm going to say something, and then they literally say, before you get into talking about politics or, the weather or anything like that, can we just stop you there? And they talk about something different, and then they derail the conversation into talking about, I don't know, Southern American girls, or literally fuck me, going to Bamborough and we're watching birds for the whole weekend. I've got a friend at work who is an extensive bird watcher since he was 10 years old. He's in like his mid to late 50s now, but that's besides the point. And the notion that goes through, it goes through something like that, and you sort of almost wonder that maybe some of the things that people have been saying is possibly true. That I'm just there to work. I'm not getting paid to make friends with anybody. I'm not getting paid to, display any symptoms of like good manners or show or respect or anything like that. I'm not expecting to get paid to have respect, but, and I've said this before, if it wasn't a question of money, then you know what? Why would I waste my time going to a place where honestly I did not feel very welcome? You know what I mean? And there are plenty of people all over the world, all throughout history, who have gone through that very similar dilemma. I've gone through it in many previous jobs, where there's no matter how hard I try just to be pleasant and just to get along with people, there's some of the staff there, they would, it's like they live every waking moment just to find out something that they can wallop me over the head with. And it became like, again, I go through the notions, and it's sort of just like, I still try to be, not because I want to spite them for being jolly and, you know, happy or anything like that, but because I want to get along with people. You know what I mean? This isn't rocket science. You get along with people, and it makes life a little bit easier. You know what? A happy worker is a busy worker and stuff like that, or a busy worker is a happy worker. And it's, again, I wish I could say that I understand this, but to be honest, I don't understand what the logic is. If you're not interested, then just don't say nothing. And you know, it's bullshit. That's what this is. This is freaking bullshit. And not to mention, I've literally spent all of this evening having to put up with like more of this futile rigmarole from the news, listening to my family go on and on and on about nothing. The only real high benefit of literally anything almost these days is that I get to see to my 10-week-old pup Floss, and she is an absolute sweetheart. She never bites me, and I always make sure to treat her. I pet her well. I take her out. I did not know I was going to be as good as like a dog whisperer than I thought I was. But meanwhile, it's just kind of one of those things, and I'm going to refuse to accept the fact that this is literally what being a man is, being in a man's world is all about. Because, oh, it's raining outside. Is being in a man's world literally being surrounded by people who are harsh, mean, and very unreasonable? No, it's not like that. But you know what? What am I going to do about it? I can't change their minds. The only thing I could do is just leave them well the hell alone and let them govern to themselves. I reckon, literally, by the time I'm actually gone from this job, which my contract is coming up in about 5 months anyway, I reckon that the first day I'm gone, they won't talk about me behind my back. They'll literally, any other reference about me will just go in one ear, straight out the other. And you know what? There's no way to prove that any of that could happen. But at the same time, there's no proof they're saying that wouldn't happen either. Oh well. In about 2 years' time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see exactly what they do remember about me. Because in 2 years' time, ladies and gentlemen, well, we'll see about that. RageCon 3 is going ahead of schedule, no matter what. Also, I've spent the best part of the last 4 hours literally with a headache thumping in my mind and focused on this work. And if you could look as well, and I talked about past, present, and future, there's me talking from the past. Guess what? I will be more than honoured to see you guys with me. So, come with me, ladies and gentlemen, as we kick off the beginnings of the announcements of RageCon 3.